Okay, so you said you've been working in foster care and adoption for about 22 years. So how often do you place children in transracial foster homes?
Well, when I first started working in foster care, that really didn't happen that often. We really worked hard to place children in homes that were the same race as them. Um, as I've been working in the field longer and longer, transracial foster placements happens a lot more frequently. Um, Black children in white homes, white children in black homes, and a lot of it depends on the location of the foster home, um, as well as the child's behavior and what the uh, referral agency needs in a placement. Sometimes that turns out to be a transracial placement. Um, so it's happening more and more. I would say um, uh, currently in my agency right now, we probably have about 3 or 4 placements that are transracial.
Okay. So, how many transracial adoptions have you actually seen since working in foster care?
That's a little bit less, um, even though transracial foster care placements have increased. I really haven't seen that many transracial adoptions. I would say maybe 1 or 2 in my time in foster care. Um, for whatever the reason, sometimes the birth family, does not agree with the adoption. They may be okay with the foster care placement, but sometimes they don't agree with the adoption, and sometimes families do have a right to say what they um, believe is best for their child, even though their child may be getting adopted. Um, okay.
All right. So, do you think transracial adoptions create problems for the child?
I used to think that, and to a certain degree, I still think that there can be problems with transracial adoption if the family adopting the child um, does not do all that they can do to make sure that child's cultural identity is not lost. I think it's very important that the adopting family respect that child's cultural identity, that they do activities with the child that supports their cultural identity, that they always allow the child to remember who they are and don't ignore their roots. I think when that happens, when families adopt the child and just feel like the child is going to be fine, that's where the problems come up. And I think, if the child does begin to have issues around their identity, that adoptive family needs to be secure enough to help that child work through those issues. Therapy may be needed, making sure they have access to their culture, that type of thing.
That's a great answer. So, my final question is, would you ever adopt a child of a different race? Why or why not?
Well, I am an adoptive parent, and when it was time for me to make a decision about adoption, I decided I wanted to um, adopt a child of the same race. And that's because I just felt it would be easier for that child to be a part of my family, that my family would accept a child of the same race easier than a child of a different race. Not that my family is racist, but I just felt, you know, it would be an easier adjustment for my family. And I was thinking of my child. I felt it would be an easier adjustment for the child as well. So now that I've had a lot more experience, I might consider it. Sure, I would consider it my eyes are a little bit more open around the issues, and I might be a little bit more willing to tackle those issues.
All right. Well, thank you, Miss Hayes, for talking with me today. You've been a great pleasure to talk to.
Thank you very much. It was very, very interesting for me too.
All right.